Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the dedication of the Springfield Rotary Park at the Reservoir. We've been calling it Rotary Park for a long time, but it's the Rotary Park at the Reservoir. And Reverend Clay Stevens is here, so we can go ahead and get started. Thanks for showing up. Good to see you. No, not at all. You're in good shape. Let me just give you a little bit of history about how this park came to be, and while we're all standing here, about a year and a half after its conception. During the pandemic, there was talk about what's the Rotary Club going to do? How are we going to continue? Are we going to continue? At the time I was president, I hadn't been president very long, maybe about a year at that time. And there was talk about, are we going to have meetings? Are we going to just shut it down? I said, let's do as much as we can and go ahead and keep this thing going. So I talked to a few key players, and you know who you are. There's only, at the time there was only about 12 of us. And I kind of made a proclamation that I'd stay on as president until we doubled the club. And I'm still president. But I haven't given up. We will double this club. Right now we're short at 20 right now, but we're gonna keep getting it up there. And I'm looking out here and I'm seeing a few recruits as I speak here. So after we decided we're going to keep it going, we found out that there's still a lot of money to be left on the table. Every year, the Rotary Club has a project, and if we can raise enough money, Rotary International will double the money. They'll match the money, depending on how much we raise and how big our club is. Ballpark numbers, we thought we could get about $3,000. And we thought, with $3,000, what can we do? Well, the pandemic was going on. We thought, let's buy some masks and give it to the kids at school. We had about a day to come up with this idea. We thought, that's what we'll do. Everybody needs these masks and gloves, and the students at school need them. That would get rid of our $3,000. So then, that same meeting, Steve Smith came in, and I'm going to have him tell the story just a little bit. He's told it so many times, I know he's got it memorized, but I'm going to have him go ahead and give us updates on it. But at that time, when Steve came and we thought, we have $3,000, the preliminary figures came in that we were going to spend about $7,000, and we didn't think we could do it. Steve kind of winked at us, got up and said, that won't be a problem, I can get that done. Sure enough, within about a week, Steve got that done, and he just kept on going. And I'm not going to spoil the final figures just yet, but we'll have Steve do it in just a few months. So this thing has been going on. We had to get permission from the city. We got the water company involved. I see David Bartley's out there. They rerouted wire. They rerouted pipes. The tile underneath this road where you're standing had to be rerouted, and it's been pretty amazing what they've been doing. Very proud of it. So, and I believe David Foster here in just a few minutes. David, where are you? Okay. David's been out. Of course, we're going to have a kayak demonstration, I believe, here in just a few minutes. I know a lot of us only have about an hour, and we have food. We have pizza in my car to eat too, so we're going to get going in just a second. So before I get going, there's also a special award that the Rotary Club gives out every so often. We don't do it very often. I've been in the club probably 4 or 5 years now. We've done it 0 times. So we decided this time it's time to do it. And it's called the Paul Harris Fellow Award. Paul Harris was the founder of Rotary. He founded the Rotary Club in 1905 in Chicago, Illinois. He was a lawyer, and he wasn't well known, and he thought if he could get just a few buddies to come around, and they would take turns having the meetings at different offices, that they could come up with a service club. And he did that in 1905, hence the term Rotary. It started out as people, instead of meeting at Mordecai's, they didn't have Mordecai's back then. So instead of Mordecai's, they rotated their meetings, and that's how the Rotary Club came to be. and this is a tough award to get, a tough award to be approved for, and there's a monetary establishment that the club has to guarantee, and we've done that. So, Steve Smith, stand up for a second. This is a surprise to Steve. If you can go ahead and get the award ready, we're going to have. But about a few months ago, when we decided this thing was going to work and we're going to have the dedication, we thought this would be a perfect time to give Steve his award. And he had no idea, I don't believe, that we were doing this behind the scenes. And he never misses a meeting, and he always comes early and stays late. So we were having a hard time keeping this thing quiet. But anyway, Steve, come on up here. I want to give you this Paul Harris Fellow Award. And this was, I remember when I was a kid, my dad got the award, but the way my dad got it, he paid for it. There was some kind of, you had to give $1,000 and he gave it to you. See, so Steve, we don't expect any money out of you, but by golly, thanks for all your dedication and your work to the Rotary Club. There you go. Now, Steve, it's all yours. Why don't you go ahead and address the crowd? Tell them, what your thought process was, what you did it, how you sold it to us initially. We thought about it for about 30 minutes and said, Steve, go ahead and do it. So Steve's been doing it, and he's kept doing it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I don't want to talk very long. We've all watched this thing progress and happen over the last 14 months. And it all happened one day, just passing down the road, heading to a meeting to figure out what we were going to do for a project that year. And I saw a guy going across the parking lot here in a wheelchair. An old lady, real old couple, pushed him across the rocks, rough, dangerous. Pushed him down here to the end of the old boat ramp, and you know, I had two options that day. I could have just looked away and kept on driving, or stop and back up and think we can do better than this as a community. I know we can, and I knew instantly the way to do it was through Rotary. I couldn't do it as an individual. I had to do it through Rotary, because this is our 90th anniversary in Springfield. 90 years in Springfield. So Rotary's been around, raising a lot of money, doing a lot of good for a long time in Springfield. And I just knew that would be the vehicle I could use to sell it to the club. It took about 10 minutes to sell it to the club. And first thing we had to do is get it approved by the city council. This property is owned by the city council. They voted unanimously to let us do it. But the great thing that I saw through the whole project was the way the whole community came together. I've been living in Springfield for 60 of my 68 years, and to see the city council unanimously approve it, to see county government, the road department, SWETA, tourism, the water company, everybody. They all came together for this project. They all helped. David Bartley out there, man, from day one, I told him it was kind of me and him in the mud and a mess for a while, but couldn't have done it without the help of the water company. And all the people that, you know, she talking about the money. I told that same story to everybody on the board there. I told the same story to everybody that we raised funds from, and they overwhelmingly pitched in and helped, because they knew we could do better as a community, and by golly, we were going to find a way to do it. And I never doubted for 1 second from the first get-go. If we needed money, I'll have it next week. I'll find it. And thank goodness, there are a lot of people here in this crowd right now that dug real deep and made this possible. But like I said a minute ago, the decision I made to back up and stop and try to make a difference in this community, I knew there were a lot of good people in this community who would dig deep and would back a cause like this. And it's It's been a lot of work, a lot of work. Andrew's laughing at me. Little Andrew and John Tate, they did so much. They helped me so much. Just a couple of kids, but hard working. But all the people that pitched in and helped, and it's makes me feel good to, the sheriff came by this morning when I was here by myself and turned around, got out and talked to him. He said, we haven't had one call out here since this was done. Somebody told me. He said, we used to come out here all the time. We haven't had the first call since it's done. And, but thanks for this. He certainly surprised me with this, but thanks to everybody that contributed. But not just the water company. Wesley, my son, Smith Contracting did so much work. Bulldozers, excavators, skid loaders, pouring concrete. Wesley was my go-to guy. They did it. Smith Contracting just jumped in and did a tremendous amount of work for us. And the danger of this is leaving somebody out. Everybody, the people that did this, to furnish the security cameras, that M&J Construction, that dug the holes for the poles, that poured the concrete for the abutment here to tie the dock to. Everybody pitched in and did their part. And just glad we're at this point right now. So, and thank you all for coming out, and thanks for everything you did, because I couldn't have done it. It's not something I did. Rotary did it, but I was glad to be a part of it. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to take a picture with the ribbon cutting in just a second, and I believe, Laurie, we were talking about lining people down the road. We're serious, folks. We're gonna line everybody down. Steve, can it hold people on this enough? Okay, we're gonna find it. And I was looking around. I always try to acknowledge our elected officials here, and I don't think we got
representation from City Hall.
Yes. Jessica Hart with City Hall is here, but we do have an elected official here. I believe is John Wilson. He's the judge executive, the county judge executive of Garrett County. So thank you. Thanks for your service. That man, you talk about wearing hats. I mean, he's a county judge. He's running Crown, and there's a myriad of things that he does around this community. So thank you, John. Thanks for being here, and thanks for the donation too. Appreciate that, what you guys do. There's in my car right behind you guys. I've got 4 Beast Pizza, so don't leave without getting some pizza. If not, we're going to take it to the Springfield State Bank, and they're going to have a feast this afternoon. So we'll see how that goes. Let's go ahead, Laura. Let's go ahead and start lining people up for this picture so that we can get this. Jane, will that be okay if we just line people up and take a picture? Let's do it.
Come on down the sidewalk.
David, why don't you go first, because you're going to get in that boat pretty soon.
Alrighty.
Everybody ready? Jane ready?
I'm ready. You're good.
I say 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Cut.
Woohoo!
It's open.
Hey, one thing I want to do real quick. Like a paddle, take it down on the dock.